Hey you guys, welcome and welcome back. We are going to get into this video about the 5 reasons. Now, is it 5? Do I actually have 5 reasons? Yes. We're going to get into the 5 reasons as to why I feel Kamala Harris ate dirt when it comes to this political election. So if you want to stick around and see what I have to say, or you just want to argue with me in the comments, be sure to like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, one of the slogans that you guys are chewing Kamala out about is this ability to see what can be and unburden ourselves from what has been.
Get somebody else to do it.
Child, let me tell you something. It's extremely hilarious that she said that, but that statement actually does ring true. When it comes to how we need to move forward, you guys, it definitely takes the ability to have foresight or the ability to even have optimism and hope and a positive outlook on the future to be able to see and envision what we can do in this situation. It takes creativity and it takes courage to be able to step up to the plate and see how we can make the best of our situation and possibly even thrive in our situation. But I do feel that there were several reasons why Trump clinched this victory and why Kamala was just face down in the dirt, child. She just did not have a chance. And I don't feel like it was totally her fault, but I also feel like there's some things that we need to understand about this situation. Now, we're going to start first by figuring out where we are. Where? This is the age of Aquarius.
This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
We are in the age of Aquarius, or we're coming into it. Wherever it is, wherever it's about to drop down on us, we're right in the throes of it, you guys. And if you don't know, the age of Aquarius is an astrological era that is said to bring a time of spiritual transformation, rebirth, and renewal. Some say it will be a time when people will be more open to new ideas, innovations, and global cooperation. Others say it will be a time when people will recognize that they are spiritual beings and will live a spiritual life in their everyday lives. Now, there are 5 core spiritual meanings associated with the age of Aquarius. One being collective responsibility, which talks about how people will learn to be a part of a larger system and be thoughtful about how they show up for their communities. Another is love, where people will recognize that only love is what really matters. The third is intuition, which is very important in this case, and says that people will move from using their mind to figure things out to using their intuition, which is more connected to your spirit, to know in each moment. The fourth is cosmic consciousness, which talks about how people will recognize cosmic consciousness, the collective sense of affection, affinity, and oneness for all God's creations. And the fifth and final core reason associated with the age of Aquarius is beacons of light, where people will be great beacons of light, spreading love and goodwill as they go about their daily lives. Now, don't this sound good? Don't this sound good? Ain't y'all tired of the darkness and the hatred? Because I'm tired of the darkness and the hatred. And we have to consider these attributes of the age of Aquarius when we consider why Kamala lost so badly in this presidential election. This is why she lost. Because not only is the country changing, not only are we changing presidents, but the world is changing. Your inner being is changing. Your soul is changing. The vibration of this planet is changing. And life as a whole, reality as we know it, is about to shift drastically into a new direction. And the fact that Trump is in office is in almost perfect alignment of this fact.
No, God!
No! God, please, no!
Now let's get into the reasons why this woman ate dirt so bad. And I want to preface this by saying that I don't think that all of the reasons why she lost were simply because of her. Kamala, or is it Kamala? Interesting. I believe that Kamala Harris definitely stepped up as best as she could to tackle the task that was placed in front of her, but she was not set up for success. The number 5 reason why I feel that Kamala Harris was not able to clinch this victory is because she came off as extremely inauthentic. She came off as someone who was going to do so much and make so many changes, but people were already grappling with whether or not that could be true because of the current administration that she's associated and affiliated with. How can we believe that you, one person, would be able to completely redo all of the things that were done improperly in the previous administration that you co-signed and still be able to make other changes that needed to be made within all of our communities? It seemed as if she was using catchy slogans and funny jokes or puns to, sway people to see that she would be able to accomplish these tasks. She had issues when it comes to her upbringing and her background. People were talking about her changing her accent and pointing out flaws in her lineage and her heritage.
To see so many friends. I love you back. Let's just get through the next 64 days. Hello to all my divine 9 brothers and sisters and my soror.
He is going to carry us forward, and the road ahead won't be easy. It will require perseverance and hard work. Reminds us weeping may endure for a night.
Empathy, man.
For the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
Where I go, I tell people, you may not be a union member, but you better thank unions for that 5-day work week.
Which I don't necessarily think is right, but when you're a person who's putting your hat in the ring to be the next leader of this free country, I definitely feel like you have to be ready for people to pick you apart. And a lot of the stories that she told, or a lot of the ways that she answered questions, would seem or come off as very inauthentic. And if you go back to the information that we read about the Age of Aquarius, that's why people didn't fall for it. Now, I personally think that Kamala's exit speech from the entire campaign, where she conceded to Donald Trump, was one of the most authentic speeches that this woman has made during her whole campaign. And I'm not necessarily a person who follows everything political in this situation, or in any situation for that matter, and I don't want to come off as that person. But I am a person who observes different situations that we experience, and I can see a nuanced perspective to what other people can see. And to me, every time that I tried to get with Kamala, I just felt disconnected from her. I felt detached from her as a person, and I felt like she was reading off of a script. These are sentiments that have been echoed throughout social media, and these are sentiments that not only have I felt, but also my family felt as well when we would have conversations about this presidential race. It seems that she was not truly showcasing who it is that she is. And like I said, a lot of these things may not have been her fault, because she may have been told to read things off of a script, and despite the fact that she may have wanted to highlight certain things about herself or be honest about where she comes from, she may have been advised against it, which goes deeper than just her. Overall, her inauthenticity caused a lot of people to be turned off to her as a leader, because we didn't actually get a chance to get to know her, and what we did find out or get to know seemed to be a little false. Now, the 4th reason why I feel like Kamala ate dirt in this election is the outdated thinking and pandering that's clearly associated with the Democratic Party.
We do not care.
I feel like for centuries, Democrats have chosen to take one specific approach to garnering support and voters for their cause. And I feel strongly that not only just because the Age of Aquarius, but because people are tired.
I had to take it there, 'cause I'm tired.
those outdated approaches are why Kamala was not able to clinch this victory. People are not in the streets getting hosed down with fire hoses. People are not getting dragged away to the jail cell because they marched. Well, actually, they are a little bit, but I digress. The way that things were in the civil rights movement and the way that things were in the 40s and the 50s is not how it is now. You have to update your approach. You have to go where you are celebrated, and you have to figure out how to connect with the people who you want support from. And I feel personally, and a lot of other people may feel this as well, that Kamala was not tapped in. She wasn't tapped in to her respective demographics, and I feel that it caused her victory. Personally, the Democratic Party has been making promises ever since I was a child about how my life as a marginalized member of society or a minority community member would be different if they were to be elected and put into office. And quite frankly, a lot of those changes have not been made.
There's two things I am not going to be, and that's broke and dumb. These past 4 years, I've been one of those things, steady, and it ain't the latter. Now in 2020, I was both of those things. I was a twofer. But this time, you don't have to worry about me being no twofer. You ain't got to worry about it, because I need my problem solved. I'm not focused on making no history. And if that's all you voting for is history, hang it up. The way we trending, we finna be history. The most population to file bankruptcy. I don't care nothing about how you say stuff. I need my problem solved. And if you gonna solve my problem, I'm with you.
Me being a millennial, I was born in 1992, feel that a lot of the things that have been promised to our communities as minorities are just bargaining chips for the Democratic Party to be able to garner our vote. And then once they're in office, it's like whatever they said to us doesn't exist. And they aren't held to the standard of what they promised when we were voting for them. Now, that is partially our fault as marginalized groups for not holding these candidates to their word when it comes to them finally getting into office. But that's a whole nother story, because we're disorganized as it is, and they see through that. They understand that we are not going to be able to organize together to hold them accountable for the things that they say. However, despite the fact that the organization may not be there and that the community activism is lacking, it doesn't change the fact that people are no longer the same people that they were 60 to 70 years ago. They're a different group of people with a different set of experiences that don't necessarily resonate with what the Democratic Party is saying. And a lot of them may see the fallacy in what the Democratic Party promises. And this is part of the reason why Kamala was not able to clinch this victory. Let's move on to the number 3 reason why I feel like Kamala was eating a whole lot of mud pies when it comes to this election. Riding coattails and deflection.
What they do.
Kamala did not focus on what she was going to do for the people enough. She was constantly riding the coattails of the Biden administration while simultaneously trying to separate herself from it. She was also riding the coattails of Trump and trying to build all of her arguments off of the foundational aspects of who Trump is or who Trump was. And I get that, but that to me is a form of fear mongering. That to me is a form of deflection. When you talk about riding coattails, it's an idiom that refers to when someone achieves success or notability primarily due to their association with another person, rather than their own efforts. The phrase is often used in a derogatory way to imply that someone is taking advantage of another person's success. And a funny example, the first example, says they accused him of riding on the coattails of the president. And it seems like she kind of did that on both sides. And this is my personal opinion, but if you look back at Kamala's history and you see where she came from, what her origins are, she's constantly been surrounded by mentors and guides that assisted her on the way up, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I feel though that it plays a role in how she was a bit unable to formulate independent thoughts when it comes to her positions in this race. She relied on so many people's hatred of Trump to fuel her campaign, which never never really works. It's like if you're in high school and kids tell you not to like another person because of what that person did to them, but you have no association with that, even though a lot of us do. I'm just using this as an example. Why should you be friends with me? Is because that person is bad. But that doesn't really say anything about the person who's telling you to be friends with them. That just tells you that that person telling you that you should be friends with them instead of the other person has some type of issue with the other person, which deflected from the true reasons why we should have voted for Kamala. If she would have came with an approach that not only said that she was going to correct the Biden administration mistakes and also prevent us from having to deal with the Trump administration fears, then we may have gotten a chance to get to know her more, which goes back to the inauthenticity. We would have gotten a chance to really see her views about the issues. We would have gotten a chance to see what her plan was when it comes to rectifying those issues. But that opportunity was missed, just like so many other opportunities within this campaign. Which brings us to the number 2 reason as to why I feel Kamala did not secure the bag of the presidential seat, which is the issues that she focused on.
You play too much. Now, if I get into it with them, I gotta live here and you don't.
She focused a lot of her campaign on LGBTQ plus issues, specifically towards trans issues and trans rights, which I feel are valid things that can be addressed and discussed and mediated within our country. And most of all, she focused on abortion rights and the rights of women's reproductive system, which I also feel as a woman are important issues. However, the majority of the world that we live in these 50 United States, are not dealing with those issues. A majority of us, myself included, are dealing with prevalent issues on a day-to-day basis that surround our jobs, being able to find jobs, being able to be treated fairly at our jobs. It's surrounded by rent and the prices of living, the cost of living when it comes to price gouging and landlords who unlawfully raise the rent and don't make repairs, or who are charging exorbitant amounts per month for properties that aren't even worth that price. A lot of us are dealing with issues of childcare affordability, where when we go to the jobs that we're not treated fairly at, in order to earn enough of a living to where we can afford the homes that we're being overcharged for, we have to pay excessive amounts to have someone who we can trust watch our children, or someone who's going to protect our children and not victimize them. One of the major issues in this country that a majority of us have been focusing on lately is Diddy and people in the music industry and in the entertainment industry. Abercrombie and Fitch, Diddy, Epstein, all of these issues that have been happening over the course of the Biden administration presidency are issues that she could have brought to the forefront to solidify more of a diverse voter pool that would align with the plans that she had to make change in office. The fact that you're focusing on women's rights and rights and trans rights is admirable. However, it doesn't comprise the whole of the people who you are targeting for your vote. And this is why I feel like she fell short, because there are a lot more people in this country who would like for their rent to be lower because they know that the landlords or the leasing companies that they pay their money to aren't doing what they're supposed to do. There's a lot of people who would like a tax break or some type of break in gas prices so that at least it wouldn't cost them so much to commute to the jobs that they have to work in order to survive. And while I know she was talking about giving new mothers a $6,000 credit or something like that, child, I'm not a new mother. I have 3 kids that I'm struggling to feed, clothe, and house. What about the mothers that are already here that are struggling to do what we need to do for our kids and who actually take care of our kids in a healthy way and don't panhandle online for people to help us or for people to raise our kids for us?
Welcome back, y'all. Come spend a wholesome night with the resilient Jenkins.
There was an extreme gap in a lot of issues that needed to be addressed that weren't addressed. Now, let me know in the comments, do you have any issues that you feel Kamala should have focused on more in order to garner more votes? I'd be curious to know what you have to say, because those are the issues that I was looking at. And me personally, I know that there are probably things that I'm not even touching on when it comes to the rights of everyday people or the struggles of everyday people, because I'm just not not connected to it. But let me know in the comments what you think. But that is one of the main reasons why I felt Kamala was not able to clinch this victory. And it was almost number one. But I'm going to give you guys the number one reason as to why she was not able to scoot down and get comfy in that presidential seat. And that is because she is a black woman.
Find that suspicious. You don't find that.
Now, I know there are a lot of people who are being extremely divisive online about this topic. Listen, as a black woman myself, I'm just a little exhausted by the whole black woman getting put down situation. Listen, I get it. It's happening. It's a reality. But the fact that we keep perpetuating it and talking about it and living it through vocalization is the reason why it's still an issue. That's part of it. Of course, there are always going to be people who want to hold you down and hold you back. But the fact that we keep saying it and speaking it into reality every single time something happens keeps it alive. And I'm tired of hearing it. But it is a fact that in my opinion, she did not stand a chance. If good old Hillary didn't stand a chance, Kamala didn't stand a chance. Because the one thing that is primal within our country, whether it's in men or in women, there are some men and some women who don't respect a woman being in a position of authority and power. There are some women who feel unsafe because of that thought. There are some men who may feel unprotected themselves because of that thought. And I feel like it's because at the end of the day, a lot of people were in their minds and the gears were turning, and they were thinking of all of the other countries, all of the other places that are very much so seriously affecting our country right now, where Kamala would have had to be face to face with another man. And she is simply a black woman. And that's arguable because personally, I don't like the fact that she was pandering to black women and pandering to black people when she's a minority, but she's not the same as an American born black woman. And you know, argue with me if you want, that's fine. I don't like when people try to stretch the truth to convince us of something, because if someone has to convince you of something, then you need to question that. But that's a conversation for another time. Part of the reason why she was not elected president is because she is a woman of color and she is a minority. Not only that, but just being a woman in general. Okay. And what we have to realize is that is the reality. Until there is a woman who garners enough knowledge and trust amongst people and can convince those people who have those beliefs that a woman is not going to be as good as a man, then there won't be a woman in that presidential seat. Now, what I feel is going to end up ultimately coming from all of this is that the United States is more than likely going to start to be a council leadership system government. I don't think that there's going to be one president. I don't think that there's going to be one person who's the face of this country anymore. I believe that we're going to start to have a council system that kind of opens up more opportunities for dialogue and discord about the issues that we're facing as a whole, as a people. I feel like that would be a lot more productive, even though we do have Congress and things like that. I feel like there's going to be a group of people who come together and make decisions, and it's not going to just be one person. And I feel like that blueprint, that foundation is going to be trickled down throughout all of our communities, where there's going to be a council of people within the black community. There's going to be a council of people within the immigrant community. There's going to be a council of people within the LGBTQ plus community. And those people are going to have to be responsible for pounding the pavement, going out there, seeing what the issues are, bringing their specific issues to the council of people who are over them, which bring their specific issues to the council of people who are over them. And ultimately it gets to the top. And then all the councils figure out what they need to do. You know what I mean? But you know, with Kamala being a black woman, it just, to me, it just wasn't the time yet. And I'm not saying that her efforts went unnoticed. If you're a black woman in this country, you should be proud by any means, no matter what her heritage is, that someone of color got to that point to even be the vice president. Do you see what I'm saying? And sometimes you gotta understand how to take the win. And for a lot of people, I just want our minds to be open to the possibility of a positive outcome. But I also want us to be aware, full disclosure, of why this did not happen and why it was never going to happen. But now I want to hear from you. Get in the comments, let me know what you think of what I said, and let me know if there's any other reasons why you felt Kamala was not able to secure this victory. And I apologize. I don't think she would ever watch this video. She might. So girl, if I messed up your name, my bad. I just wanted to make this clear because because I felt like it was something important that needed to be said. While everyone else is just all hyper emotional and being angry about the situation, this is something that needed to be said. And I hope that you guys gained something positive from this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to continue to catch the vibe. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
I'ma stop. I get money, I'ma stop. Hey.
お金稼ぐ俺らはスターキラキラ
He know who I am, ain't have to say my name.